Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setup for today. So, yeah, we have, I'm not sure what to call that, but we have these big moves down and then the buyers coming in. And I think, as I said yesterday, that 14,000 level is the one that we are testing, and we've just had a daily retest of that. So that's a pin bar on the 14,000 level, which is pretty significant as far as I'm concerned. And you can see my level 1410 we dropped below, buyer stepped in. Look at the oscillators at the moment. We've got one crossover, we should get another one. So this does look like it is testing that level, and we should see a continuation to the upside. So that's kind of the play that we should have sort of in our heads. However, when we start drilling down to the lower time frames, we do get that. Okay, so that would indicate a move to the upside, but this here does concern me. So the oscillators are sort of heading in a direction when they deviate like that from each other. So when there's divergence between the faster and the slower moving stochastics, it typically indicates that you should be looking for another leg down. So now you've got that there, but then you've also got this flag here, and then you have this measured move for this flag, which brings us back below 14,000 and onto the 1 hour 155 EMA. Bear in mind there are gaps to the downside. There is one gap to the upside here, but there are multiple gaps to the downside. So there are multiple magnets to the downside. I'm kind of in two minds at the moment, and if I just look at Forex, and I can see there's a bit of weakness creeping into the price action on the dollar, and that's, or should I say, strength creeping into the dollar, but weakness on some of the dollar pairs like euro dollar, euro USD, and that's not boding well for a strong dollar. Strong dollar is not really good for the markets. Now the DAX follows the US markets quite closely, specifically the Dow Jones, and now I'm in two minds. I'm not entirely convinced that we have tested this 14,000. There's, as I say, there's two levels here. So there's a range break for a continuation to the up, and then there's a channel and a potential channel break for a move to the downside. So there are multiple ways of looking at this at the moment. And the other thing that we do need to bear in mind is high, higher high, low, lower low. So it could be a big wedge. And that's what the 3 hours telling us. Come back to structure and then look for a break to the upside. Or alternatively, it could just be double top there, and because we've broken below the 14,010, although it's not very clear, maybe just do that. So 14,013, better level, we've broken below it. Is this a retest of this area here of 14,042? For another leg down, which is quite possible, or is this a wedge forming for a move to the upside? So it's 50-50 calls at the moment, and I don't like 50-50 calls. I'm looking for sure trades. So for me on the DAX today, I sort of I'm more bearish than bullish on the structure I'm seeing on the 1 hour. And if we start looking at the lower time frames, the 15-minute, you could see back into the moving averages here, oscillators grouped together, a little bit of chaos here. We are up at the moment on the futures market, but that's just the Asian session, so I wouldn't really read much into that right now. So DAX futures right now is up 0.28%, sitting at 14,073. I think I'll keep my money in my pocket. I think there's too many things that could go wrong here, and the big one for me at the moment is this little area here. Now that, when you start looking on the other time frames, so just take a half hour for example, we had an up, so it's a high, low, low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Then, so technically we're going to have to break above that area there, which is basically gap close from yesterday, and if we have close above that, then you can look for support and then look for a move to the upside. But this is creating a series of lower highs and lower lows, so it's not that's why I say I'm a little bit more bearish than I am bullish at the moment. But the trend is up, don't get me wrong, the trend is up at the moment on the 3 hour, the 4 hour, the daily. Everything is up at the moment. However, there is also a little bit of divergence here. So price is a double top, but you can see we've got a bit of divergence. I wouldn't write too much into that. That's sort of higher than it is there. You could argue that it is slightly higher as well, so I wouldn't even bother looking at that. So yeah, it is actually higher, so ignore that. Anyway, I think for me, the buyers are stepping in here. It does look like another leg up, but possibly just a little leg to create a bigger higher low before a stronger move to the downside. So when it's this much confusion in the DAX at the moment, I think my advice is just keep your money in your pocket, wait for something to see, wait for some structure and see what's going to transpire. You've got moves to the upside, you've got setups to the upside, you've got setups to the downside, and that's never a good sign. So that's just an indication that there's sort of equal, I can't call it support, but there's equal opportunity for the bulls and the bears right now, and either or can happen. And if it does, if you do start moving down, I think you're going to have a relatively swift move down, because you're going to have quite a few magnets to the downside. So for me, wait and see. Let's just wait and see what transpires. I don't trust what I'm seeing here, which is it's always a good sign when you see it before you're in the trade and you're not trapped in the trade. So anyway, I'm rambling. That there's no trade here for me. Sit on the sides, wait for it, and see what transpires. And you've got more magnets to the downside than you do to the upside. And this series of lower highs is really concerning me. Does look like it's a wedge forming, does look like it's a channel forming, but I think I will wait and see what transpires today. Anyway, that's it for me today. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you later. Cheers for now.